The quantum breakthrough. Dr. Isabella Romano hadn't slept in 36 hours, but she couldn't tear herself away from the quantum interference patterns dancing across her holographic display. The International Space Station's Quantum Research Lab, a marvel of engineering that had cost 17 nations their entire space budgets for a decade, hummed with the sound of cutting-edge equipment. Something in the data didn't make sense, and that was exactly why she couldn't sleep. "Raj, are you seeing this?" She called out to her research partner, Dr. Rajesh Patel, who was monitoring the quantum containment field parameters across the lab. The entangled particles aren't just correlating. They're creating something. Raj pushed away from his workstation, his momentum in the zero-gravity environment carrying him smoothly across the lab. His usual skeptical expression melted into wide-eyed wonder as he studied the readings. "That's impossible," he whispered, but the data didn't lie. The quantum entangled particles weren't just sharing information instantaneously across space. They were generating a stable microscopic tunnel between them. "Run it again," Isabella demanded, her hands trembling as she initiated the sequence. The quantum accelerator powered up, its distinctive whine filling the lab. The results were identical. Somehow, they had stumbled upon something that violated everything they thought they knew about physics. The discovery spread through the scientific community like wildfire. Within weeks, the ISS Quantum Lab became the center of the most important scientific endeavor in human history. Dr. Thomas Harrison, the leading expert in wormhole theory, arrived from MIT, bringing with him a team of engineers and theoretical physicists. "If we can scale this up," Thomas explained during their first full-team meeting, his British accent growing more pronounced with excitement, "we're not just looking at faster-than-light communication. We're looking at actual FTL travel. The quantum tunnel you've discovered. It's a stable microscopic wormhole." The next 6 months were a blur of breakthrough and setback, triumph and failure. The team worked around the clock, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge. They named their creation the Quantum Bridge Drive, and as it grew from microscopic to macroscopic scales, the possibilities it presented became staggering. The first full-scale test was conducted with an unmanned probe. Isabella watched from the control room, her heart pounding as the distinctive geometric array of the Quantum Bridge Drive powered up around the small vehicle. The drive created a visible distortion in space, a sphere of twisted reality that looked like a soap bubble made of starlight. "Field stability at 100%, Raj reported, his voice steady despite the tension. "Quantum bridge forming. Now." The probe vanished. No flash, no sound, just gone. One moment it was there, the next it wasn't. 3 seconds later, it reappeared exactly where they had calculated, on the other side of the moon. The transit time was 0. They had done it. Humanity had broken the light speed barrier. The celebration was short-lived. Within hours of the test, astronomers around the world reported something strange. Objects were appearing at the edge of the solar system, massive structures decelerating from impossible velocities. First contact was about to happen, not through careful radio signals or peaceful exploration, but because humanity had stumbled upon something that had attracted attention. Admiral Claire Henderson stood before the hastily assembled UN Security Council, her uniform crisp despite the late hour. "The objects appear to be ships," she reported, her voice grave. "Each one is roughly the size of Manhattan. We're detecting energy signatures unlike anything we've ever seen. They're not broadcasting any signals, but they're moving with clear purpose. They'll reach Earth orbit in approximately 48 hours. Isabella sat in the audience, her mind racing. The Quantum Bridge Drive was about to change everything, but not in the way they had imagined. Humanity's dream of reaching the stars had finally been realized, but they were about to discover they weren't alone in having that dream. As the world's governments scrambled to prepare for first contact, Isabella and her team worked frantically to understand more about their discovery. The quantum tunnels they created didn't just break the light speed barrier. They seemed to bypass normal space entirely. And there was something else, something in the quantum signature readings that suggested their discovery wasn't entirely accidental. "Look at this," Thomas said, pulling up an analysis of the quantum field harmonics. "These patterns, they're too perfect. It's as if the universe itself wanted us to find this, like it was waiting for us to ask the right questions." Equals. Isabella stared at the data, a chill running down her spine. They hadn't just discovered faster-than-light travel. They had discovered something that would force humanity to confront its place in a universe far more complex and dangerous than they had imagined. First contact crisis. The alien ships hung in Earth's orbit like frozen auroras, their crystalline surfaces refracting sunlight in impossible patterns. Within the United Nations Emergency Council chamber, the air was thick with tension as humanity's representatives faced their first extraterrestrial visitors. High Arbiter Zorix of the Galactic Concordat stood before them, its form a constantly shifting pillar of translucent energy contained within a sophisticated environmental field. When it spoke, the universal translator converted its quantum resonance patterns into eerily perfect English. "Your species has stumbled upon knowledge that threatens the very fabric of civilized space," Zorix announced, its form flickering between shades of deep blue and violet. "The quantum bridge technology you have developed violates protocols established 50,000 years ago, during the Great Collapse." Isabella Romano sat between Admiral Henderson and Dr. Harrison, her fingers quietly tapping commands into her tablet beneath the table. Around the world, hidden facilities were receiving her encrypted instructions, backing up their research data through quantum-encrypted channels. "With respect, High Arbiter," Admiral Henderson spoke, her voice steady. "We discovered this technology through our own research. We weren't aware of any galactic protocols." "Ignorance does not excuse the danger." Zorix's form pulsed with crimson undertones. "The Concordat maintains order through controlled navigation channels. Your quantum bridge technology threatens that control. It must be surrendered." The Chinese representative, Minister Liu, leaned forward. "And what do we receive in return for surrendering our sovereign technological achievements?" "The Concordat will grant Earth access to approved hyperspace lanes. Your world will be welcomed into galactic civilization, under our guidance and protection." The alien's form stabilized into a calm blue. "Refuse, and we will be forced to take more direct action." As the diplomatic crisis unfolded, Dr. Harrison quietly showed Isabella his tablet. The quantum sensors they had installed throughout the solar system were picking up strange readings. The Concordat ships weren't just maintaining position. They were creating a complex web of quantum fields around Earth. They were being contained. Isabella's tablet vibrated with an encrypted message from Raj back at the ISS lab. "Project Phoenix is ready. Secondary facilities online. Waiting for your signal." The past month hadn't been wasted. While the world's attention was focused on the approaching alien ships, a select group of scientists, military personnel, and engineers had been preparing for the worst. Hidden bases had been established in abandoned mines, underwater facilities, and secret orbital stations. The quantum bridge technology had been refined, miniaturized, and mass-produced under absolute secrecy. "The Concordat's offer is generous," Isabella spoke up, drawing surprised looks from both human and alien representatives. "But before we proceed, I have a question about the Great Collapse you mentioned." Zorix's form rippled with what might have been surprise. "That knowledge is restricted. The tragedy of the collapse led to the current protocols." "Interesting," Isabella continued, her heart racing, but her voice calm. "Because our quantum field analysis suggests something different. The harmonics we detected, they're not random. They're like echoes of something much older than 50,000 years." The alien's form suddenly blazed with angry red energy. "You dare to question. We dare to seek the truth." Admiral Henderson interrupted, standing. "While you've been threatening us with your ships, we've been analyzing your technology. The quantum fields you're generating around Earth. They're based on the same principles as our bridge drive, but they're centuries behind our implementation. Zorix's form became absolutely still. Impossible. Your species only achieved this breakthrough months ago. 3 months is a long time for humans, Dr. Harrison added, allowing himself a small smile. Especially when we're motivated. Isabella pressed a sequence on her tablet. Across Earth and throughout the solar system, hidden facilities powered up next-generation quantum bridge devices. The quantum web the Concordat had been building around Earth suddenly found itself contained within a much larger, much more sophisticated network. "Let me tell you what we think really happened," Isabella said, standing to face Zorix. "The Great Collapse wasn't a tragedy that led to your protocols. It was how your Concordat seized power. You didn't develop quantum bridge technology. You found it, just like we did. And then you suppressed it to maintain control." The chamber erupted in chaos as Zorix's form flared with brilliant white light. "You understand nothing. The protocols exist for a reason. Unrestricted quantum travel will break your monopoly on interstellar travel," Admiral Henderson finished. "That's what this is really about, isn't it?" As if on cue, quantum sensors detected massive energy spikes from the Concordat fleet. They were powering up weapons, but humanity wasn't as helpless as they had assumed. "Before you take any aggressive action," Isabella announced, her voice cutting through the chaos, "you should know that we've already established colonies beyond our solar system. Hidden facilities that even now are manufacturing more bridge drives. You can't contain this technology anymore. The only question is whether you're willing to adapt to a new reality." The chamber fell silent as Zorix's form cycled through a rapid sequence of colors. The next few moments would determine whether humanity's first contact with galactic civilization would end in peace or conflict. But regardless of the outcome, one thing was certain: humanity's place in the galaxy had changed forever. Operation Starlight. The mood in the underground command center was tense as Admiral Henderson studied the holographic display showing humanity's secret network of colonies. 30 worlds, carefully selected and settled in absolute secrecy during the diplomatic standoff with the Concordat. Each one chosen for its resources, strategic location, or scientific value. "Status report," she commanded, her voice echoing in the cavernous facility buried deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. Isabella Romano stepped forward, her lab coat exchanged for a military uniform that still felt strange on her shoulders. "The quantum network is holding. Our improved bridge drives are maintaining stable connections between all colonies. The Concordat's attempts to trace our quantum signatures have failed." "And Project Phoenix?" Dr. Harrison answered from his station, where he was monitoring the quantum field dynamics. "The prototype is ready. If our theories about the ancient quantum harmonics are correct, it will change everything we thought we knew about the technology." The past 3 weeks, since the confrontation at the UN, had been a dangerous dance of diplomacy and deception. The Concordat maintained their blockade of Earth, but their threats had become more measured since discovering humanity's hidden preparations. Meanwhile, Operation Starlight continued in secret, expanding humanity's foothold among the stars. "New contact," Raj announced suddenly, his eyes fixed on the quantum detection array. "Multiple signatures at the edge of the Arcturus sector. They're different from Concordat patterns." The holographic display shifted, showing a cluster of ships approaching one of the hidden colonies. Their quantum signatures pulsed with unfamiliar rhythms, but they weren't hostile. They were waiting. "They're requesting communication," Raj reported, surprise evident in his voice. "But not with the Concordat. They're asking for you specifically, Dr. Romano." The communication, when established, revealed something unexpected. The ships belonged to the Nexus Alliance, a hidden coalition of species who had also discovered quantum bridge technology, but had been forced to develop it in secret under Concordat suppression. Their leader, Strategic Director Killith, appeared as a holographic projection, a being of crystalline structures and flowing energy patterns different from the Concordat's form. "Dr. Romano, your species has done something remarkable. You forced the Concordat to reveal their true nature to the galaxy. Isabella leaned forward, intrigued. You've been watching us. We've been waiting. For millennia, the Concordat has maintained their power through technological suppression. But they're not the original masters of quantum technology. They're usurpers who found the remnants of a far older civilization, just as you did. The revelation sent shockwaves through the command center. Their theories about the quantum harmonics had been correct, but the implications were far greater than they had imagined. The ancient ones, Harrison whispered, pieces falling into place. The quantum echoes we detected, they're from their technology. Yes, Kyleth confirmed. The Concordat didn't develop quantum bridge technology. They discovered it in the ruins of the Ancient One's civilization and used it to establish their dominion. But they never fully understood it. They feared its true potential. Admiral Henderson stepped forward. And you believe we've understood something they missed. Your implementation of the quantum bridge is different from anything we've seen. You didn't just replicate the technology. You improved it. Project Phoenix. It's not just a weapon, is it? Isabella shared a look with her colleagues. Project Phoenix had been their most closely guarded secret, a revolutionary application of quantum bridge technology that they believed could change the balance of power in the galaxy. No, she confirmed. It's a key. We found patterns in the quantum harmonics, not just echoes, but instructions. The Ancient Ones didn't just leave behind their technology. They left behind a message, encoded in the very fabric of space-time. Kyleth's crystalline form shimmered with what might have been excitement. You've decoded it. Partially. But we need help to understand it fully. The message, it speaks of a network, something vast and powerful, hidden from the Concordat site. We believe the Ancient Ones didn't vanish. They ascended, using quantum technology in ways the Concordat never imagined possible. The implications were staggering. If they were right, the quantum bridge was more than just a means of travel. It was a step towards something greater, a transformation that the Ancient Ones had undergone and left instructions for others to follow. The Concordat's suppression of quantum technology wasn't just about controlling travel, Harrison added. They were preventing species from following the Ancient One's path. Whether out of fear or a desire to maintain their power, they've been keeping the galaxy trapped in technological stasis, which is why we need to move quickly. Admiral Henderson interjected. The Concordat is already suspicious of our activities. If they discovered the true nature of Project Phoenix, they will respond with overwhelming force. Kyleth finished. But they are not as powerful as they appear. Many species chafe under their rule. If you have truly found a way to access the Ancient One's legacy, then it's time to offer the galaxy a choice, Isabella concluded. Help us complete Project Phoenix, and we'll show you what the Concordat has been hiding all these years. As the hidden coalition began to form, Isabella couldn't help but feel that they were standing on the brink of something monumental. The quantum bridge hadn't just given humanity the stars. It had given them a destiny, one that would either elevate them to new heights of existence or bring the wrath of the galaxy's most powerful civilization down upon them. The Hidden Empire. The ancient ruins on Kepler 186 stretched across an entire continent, a sprawling metropolis of impossible architecture that had stood empty for 50,000 years. Isabella Romano stood at the base of a towering spire that seemed to be made of solid quantum fields, her environmental suit's sensors struggling to process the readings. It's not just a city, Dr. Harrison breathed through the comm system, his voice filled with wonder. It's a machine. The entire planet is a quantum computer. The joint expedition of humans and Nexus Alliance scientists had been exploring the ruins for 3 days, following coordinates decoded from the Ancient One's message. What they found exceeded their wildest expectations. Raj's voice crackled over the comm. You need to see this. Central Complex, Sublevel 3. The team converged on the location, descending through layers of technology that defied their understanding. The chamber they entered was vast, its walls covered in shifting patterns of light that seemed to respond to their presence. It's some kind of historical archive. Kylith announced, their crystalline form interfacing directly with the ancient systems. The Ancient Ones, they weren't just one species. They were many, unified by their mastery of quantum technology. The chamber came alive with holographic displays, showing the history of a civilization that had spanned the galaxy. The Ancient Ones had discovered that quantum entanglement wasn't just a phenomenon. It was the fundamental language of consciousness itself. Through their mastery of quantum technology, they had transcended their physical forms, ascending to a higher plane of existence. But they left something behind, Isabella said, studying the displays. The quantum harmonics we detected, they're not just echoes. They're a blueprint for ascension, Harrison finished. The Ancient Ones created a path for other species to follow. The quantum bridge technology isn't just for travel, it's the first step towards something greater. The revelation was interrupted by an urgent transmission from Admiral Henderson. We've got trouble. The Concordat fleet is moving. They've detected our quantum signatures on Kepler 186. Isabella's heart raced. How long do we have? Hours at most. But that's not all. We've intercepted communications. The Concordat leadership is fracturing. Some of them want to negotiate. Others are calling for immediate military action to prevent what they're calling another collapse. The team worked frantically to download as much data as possible from the ancient archives. Each discovery painted a clearer picture of what the Concordat had been hiding. They didn't just find Ancient One technology, Kylith announced, their form pulsing with anger. They found working ascension facilities, but instead of sharing this knowledge, they destroyed or buried them, keeping the galaxy's species trapped in physical form. Because ascended beings would be beyond their control, Isabella realized. Their entire empire is built on suppressing the very purpose of quantum technology. A warning klaxon echoed through the ruins. The Concordat fleet was approaching faster than expected. Project Phoenix, Harrison said suddenly. This is what it was meant for. The quantum harmonics we detected, they weren't just showing us how to build better bridges. They were showing us how to reactivate the Ascension network. Isabella's mind raced with possibilities. The hidden colonies, the quantum network we've built. We've been unconsciously following the Ancient One's design, creating the infrastructure needed for mass ascension. Which is why the Concordat is so afraid, Raj added. We're not just threatening their control of space travel. We're threatening their entire basis of power. The ground shook as the first Concordat ships entered orbit. But this time, they weren't just facing Earth. The Nexus Alliance fleet dropped out of quantum space, taking up defensive positions around the planet. Make the call, Dr. Romano. Admiral Henderson's voice was firm. Do we proceed with Phoenix? Isabella looked at her colleagues, at the alien allies who had risked everything to help them, at the ancient heritage they had uncovered. The next few moments would determine not just the fate of humanity, but the course of galactic civilization itself. Initiate Project Phoenix, she commanded. It's time to give every species in the galaxy the choice the Concordat denied them. Across human space, across the hidden colonies and secret facilities, quantum bridges began to pulse with new harmonics. The message of the Ancient Ones, suppressed for 50,000 years, was finally being heard. The Concordat had maintained their power through fear and control, but they were about to discover that some forces couldn't be contained. The age of suppression was ending. The age of ascension was about to begin. Liberation. The quantum field surrounding Earth pulsed with colors that shouldn't exist in normal space as Project Phoenix reached full power. In orbit, the Concordat fleet faced off against the combined forces of humanity and the Nexus Alliance, but no one had opened fire. They were all too transfixed by what was happening. Quantum resonance at maximum, Raj reported from his station in the underground command center. The network is stable. We're receiving confirmations from all 30 colonies. Isabella Romano stood before the holographic display, watching as the quantum harmonics spread across human space. The Ancient One's message was broadcasting on frequencies that penetrated the very fabric of reality. There would be no stopping it now. High Arbiter Zorix's form materialized in the command center, no longer the calm, controlled presence they had first encountered. "Stop this madness." The alien's translucent form flickered with panic. "You don't understand what you're unleashing." "No, Zorix," Admiral Henderson countered. "You don't understand what you've been suppressing." "Show them, Dr. Romano." Isabella activated the historical archives they had recovered from Kepler 186 SPEF. The chamber filled with images of the Ancient One's civilization, not of conquest or control, but of transformation and transcendence. 50,000 years ago, Isabella explained, multiple species achieved what we're about to achieve. They didn't destroy themselves. They didn't collapse into chaos. They evolved. "And you buried that truth," Strategic Director Killith added, their crystalline form pulsing with righteous anger. "You found their facilities, their messages, their legacy, and you hid it all to maintain your power." The quantum harmonics reached a crescendo. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds under Concordat control, suppressed species were receiving the Ancient One's message. The choice that had been denied them for 50 millennia was finally being offered. "Your control is over," Dr. Harrison announced, monitoring the quantum network's spread. "You can't stop every species in the galaxy from making their own choice." Zorix's form stabilized, a cold certainty settling over the alien leader. "Then you leave us no choice. The Concordat will not allow." The High Arbiter's threat was cut short by a cascade of reports flooding in from across Concordat space. On hundreds of worlds, quantum bridge technology was being activated. The suppressed species weren't just receiving the message. They were acting on it. "It's happening," Isabella breathed, watching the data stream in. The quantum awakening the Ancient Ones predicted. The process was beautiful and terrifying to witness. On the quantum level, conscious beings were making the choice to transcend their physical forms, to evolve into something greater. The Ancient One's ascension network, dormant for 50,000 years, was coming back online. "You don't have to fight this," Isabella told Zorix. "Your species can join us." This was never about replacing one form of control with another. It's about choice, about evolution. The command center fell silent as Zorix's form shifted through a spectrum of colors, the alien leader finally confronting the truth their civilization had hidden for so long. Around them, the quantum field continued to pulse with new life as more and more beings made their choice. Admiral Henderson stepped forward. "The Concordat can remain as it is, governing those who choose to remain in physical form. But the age of suppression is over. The galaxy is awakening." The transformation, when it began, was unlike anything they had imagined. It wasn't an ending, but a beginning. Those who chose ascension didn't vanish. They evolved, their consciousness expanding into the quantum realm while maintaining connections to the physical world. Isabella felt the change rippling through the quantum field as millions, then billions of beings across the galaxy embraced their potential. Humanity, having helped unlock this potential, was being offered the same choice. "What do we do now?" Raj asked, watching as the quantum field filled with new forms of life and consciousness. "We do what humans have always done," Isabella replied, smiling as she felt the quantum field resonate with possibilities. "We explore, we learn, we grow." The Concordat's 50,000 years of suppression had ended not with a war, but with an awakening. The galaxy was entering a new age, one where physical and quantum existence would intertwine, where consciousness could evolve beyond its original bounds, and where the legacy of the Ancient Ones would finally be fulfilled. As Isabella looked out at the transformed galaxy, she understood that the quantum bridge they had discovered months ago hadn't just been a means of faster-than-light travel. It had been the key to humanity's next great adventure, not just among the stars, but beyond the very boundaries of conventional existence. The revolution was complete. The liberation had begun, and the story of consciousness in the galaxy was entering its next chapter. High above Earth, the quantum field shimmered with countless new forms of life, a testament to the indomitable spirit of all species who dared to reach beyond their limitations and grasped their true potential.